Hey guys, welcome to the video, and as you can see, this is a Formula 1 prediction in the Constructors Championship. Now, just so we put this out there, I am not a die-hard Formula 1 fan. I just enjoy watching the races. So my prediction will probably be wrong, and it's just a prediction. I can't see into the future. So yeah, if you wanna, I want to hear what you have to say in the comments, but don't go like, "Oh, you don't know anything." I don't know everything. Like, it is just a prediction. It is based on how I like the drivers, what my connection to the teams are, and how well I think they've done from last season and from what I see. So in 10th, we're going with Haas. Um, Haas had a really bad last season. Obviously, I know they changed the team principal. Obviously, Steiner, who I have loved to watch in Drive to Survive for the last 3 or 4 years, has gone. And it's probably the right decision. Obviously, changing sponsor with their new money grab sponsor. They got 12 points last season, and I think they could get a respectable 10 to 15 points. They do have a Hulkenberg and uh, Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen as their drivers for this season. And I think it is a good pairing. However, I just think they won't have upgraded as much as they would have hoped. And I think that is going to be another tough season for Haas. And that is why I have put them in 10th. In 9th is Saudi F1 Kick. Now, this was Alfa Romeo Ferrari last year. They've changed the name, the sponsor, and everything. They finished in 9th last season as well. They have Dwayne Cho as their driver this year. Again, not a bad driver, but I just don't think they will have the car to challenge, kind of. I just think, again, probably not improved as much. So their drivers are Bottas as well. Bottas, obviously, great driver, but I think the team isn't going to be as where as they want to be. In 9th is Williams Racing, and I like Williams. I think they're good. They finished 7th last season, so I am expecting them to go down. And the reason will be is because obviously we will get onto the team that I think who were below them will improve. Now, Williams, they got 28 points last season. They have a good driver pairing in Williams, Alexander Albon, who used to be the Red Bull driver, and Logan Sargent. Now, I think the points will come because of Albon. I think Logan Sargent had a rough season last year, and I don't think he's going to improve that much. But I think Albon is the lead driver, and he can and has shown that he can push Williams' cars to the limit and get into those points and challenge in the wet for that 4th to 7th position, We saw it last year, and I think he can do it again. But I think as a pairing, the points will come from Albon, and Sargent won't have many points, and that is the reason why I have put Williams in 8th. Moving to 7th, Alpine. Now, again, another team that has gone down. They were in 6th. They got 120 points, which is good. They kept the same pairing of Ocon and Gasly. Now, if you watch Drive to Survive, you know these two don't get on that well. Both French, and it is a French team, which I understand why you want two French drivers. However, they don't get on. They clash a lot. There is no responsibility. There is no clear team leader. I would assume it would be Gasly, but there is no set leader, and that is what causes chaos on the track. Gasly came in 11th in the standings last year, and Ocon in 12th. So they've got a good pair. 62 points for Gasly and 58 points for Ocon. So they had a good sum of points. They have a lot of car failures last year, and that cost them a lot of points. If they can improve their faults, they could have a good season, but I just don't think they can push any higher than 7th. And I think they have to get Gasly and Ocon on the same page. Otherwise, it will be another chaos season. Moving to 6th, Red Bull Cash. Now, this is their junior team, known last season as AlphaTauri. Now, they had a stinker of a last year, and that was mostly down to they finished 8th, 25 points. Now, this came down to their rookie driver, Nick de Vries. As much as I think he is a good driver, he wasn't performing, and they had to make that change, which is we love to see Danny Ricciardo back as a Formula 1 driver. And I think having Tsunoda and Ricciardo is going to be a great pairing. Now, we know that Sergio Perez in the Red Bull Racing number 1 team seat isn't 100% secure. So I think Danny Ricciardo has a season to prove that he wants to be the Red Bull number 1. Obviously not number 1 because Max Verstappen, but partnered with Max Verstappen. And I think that will motivate him to get points. Obviously, he had 2 years off driving, and he got back into the car last season. Obviously, after they made the decision to drop Nick de Vries. Ricciardo, he got 6 points. And halfway last season, so obviously he didn't have a full season, and I think having a full season with Ricciardo and Tsunoda will get Red Bull Racing Junior, AlphaTauri, into 6th. And moving to 5th, Aston Martin. They had a great season last year at the start. I think they will have another good season with the same pairings of Alonso, who is a Formula 1 champion, and Lance Stroll. I just don't think they can challenge the top 4. I think they will be the bottom of the top, but again, head of the bottom part of. So I don't think AlphaTauri, Red Bull, these will come close to Aston Martin, but I don't think Aston Martin will be very close to the team I put in 4th. I think Alonso is a great driver. Obviously, they've got to decide on whether Alonso will stay. Obviously, he's getting on. He's been in Formula 1 over 20 years. He finished in 4th in the drivers' standings last season, 206 points. Compared to his teammate Stroll, who finished in 10th, was on 74 points. So he got over 138 points, I believe. That is the math. More than his teammate. And I think that will happen again this year. But I think the 4 teams above Aston Martin are just a bit too strong. So who do I put in 4th? Mercedes. Mercedes have had a rough 2 years since the scenes of Lewis Hamilton losing the World Championship in Abu Dhabi to Max Verstappen. They came in the following season with a new design, unseen to the rest of the field, and oh my god, was it total failure. Hamilton said this car was crap. They didn't want to listen. It took them at least halfway into the season to improve it, but it wasn't good enough. And then they decided to keep the same design. Why? And Hamilton was fed up. He said it was crap. They kept it, and the results were shown. Despite finishing second in the constructors last year, Hamilton coming in third. He didn't win a race last year, and as a man that wants to get his championship back, he needs to have a winning car, and Mercedes haven't provided that in the last 2 seasons, and I don't think they're going to provide it this year either. As for George Russell, good driver, will have to become the lead driver, with Hamilton leaving for Ferrari next year. And hopefully Hamilton can get that 8th championship with Ferrari, because Mercedes aren't going to give it to him. And I think that can obviously kind of represent what teams are above Mercedes that I've put. With Toto Wolff still in the job, and obviously rumours on him with allegations, I think that will also put pressure on Mercedes. And obviously qualifying is out tomorrow, so we don't know how well the car is. If it is anything close to what it was last year, this is going to be another poor season. The only good side for Mercedes is that Hamilton has said that it is better than what they've had in the last 2 seasons, but he still doesn't think it's going to be a winning car, and that's unfortunate. McLaren, one of my favourite teams, if not the favourite. I think their pairing with Piastri and Lando Norris is unbelievable. Probably the best pairing on the grid, in my thoughts. McLaren had a great season last year. They started rough, and it came back, and I think that obviously played a part in McLaren's finishing in 4th, 100 points behind Ferrari in 3rd. But I think there is good signs because of Lando Norris having said that the car has massively improved, which means if they finished in 4th and they had at least 7 races where they weren't in the bottom, I think that will accumulate in a lot of points, and that will help push McLaren above Mercedes. Now, obviously, Mercedes did finish second, but I think the driver pairing of Lando Norris being probably second or third in the drivers' constructors will help McLaren elevate Mercedes, basically. Obviously, this is all a prediction, and I am kind of hoping, because obviously I'm a huge Lando Norris fan, that they do well. It doesn't mean that they will, but it's a bit of a hopeful thinking that McLaren can finish in third. In second, I think this is probably a no-brainer. Ferrari, led by Charles Leclerc, who is a great driver. However, Ferrari have had a lot of engine failures in the last 2 years, and that has kind of cost having Leclerc fight Max Verstappen. I think they will probably have a good season, especially with obviously the news that obviously Hamilton will be joining them in the next season. That will motivate Ferrari to have a good car for Hamilton and Leclerc's next season. Now, that doesn't mean that this season is going to be bad. I think Leclerc and Sainz will have points to prove individually, and I think that will help them score points. I think with Leclerc already set as their number one driver, it means that team decisions with overtaking, obviously defending, that he will have when he wants to pit, he will have that say over Carlos Sainz. And I think that could play in a point of Carlos Sainz being frustrated. But I think with Sainz, that he knows he needs to drive well to get a seat for next year. And that will help Ferrari overcome the likes of McLaren and Mercedes in the constructors, which means there is only one team. And I think every Formula One fan, anyone who watches Formula One knows that the team that's going to win the constructors yet again is Red Bull Racing. You just think 500, their points was 860 last year. That was over double what Mercedes got. As for Verstappen, 573 points. Perez came in second in the constructors with 285. So he already, Max Verstappen, doubled what Perez got. Verstappen will win the championship yet again. That is a spoiler to what my drivers' standings will look like, and I think he will lead Red Bull to another constructors. How well Perez delivers is probably the more questions that fans have. He had a rocky start last season, had a couple of DNFs, had a couple of Q3 eliminations, and his seat is on the line. And I think, like I said earlier in the episode, in the video, Danny Ricciardo is gunning for that Red Bull seat. If Perez doesn't deliver, he's gone. Max Verstappen will ultimately lead Red Bull to the constructors. There is no doubt about that. It is all on Perez to be that second team player for Max Verstappen to get the points to Red Bull's dominance. And I think this could be the last season that we actually do see Perez and Verstappen as a pairing. Even though Perez has been great teammate for Verstappen, he wants to win races. He wants to win his championships. And as a second driver, he's not going to get that because he can't beat Max Verstappen. But the problem is, Perez cannot go to another team because Red Bull are miles apart from the rest. So, again, what does he do? He has to perform. And I think with Red Bull dominance, he can do that. It's whether his performances will be consistent enough to keep him that seat at Red Bull. So, in all, Red Bull will win the championship yet again. And I don't think that is really too much to challenge. I think, let me know in the comments down below how my predictions are. Now, like I said right at the beginning, I'm not a die-hard Formula 1 fan. I don't watch the testing, I don't watch winter breaks, I don't watch practice 1, 2, 3. I watch the qualifying and I watch the races when I'm not at work, or I get home and watch the highlights. So I don't watch the full 52, 60 watt laps of a race. But it is a prediction. So let me know in the comments down below what you think will be the constructors table. Let me know in the comments down below if I had made any rash decisions, if I've got anything wrong. Please tell me, because then that helps me improve my knowledge of Formula 1. And go and check out my driver's standings predictions if you like this one, because that's going to go terribly wrong. But thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.